Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Michael. I'm the head of marketing at Everflow. To kick off today, we did a recording of our conversation to make sure that it was all like perfect and streamlined. So we will be starting with that, and then at the end of that overview conversation, we'll be here to ask or answer any questions, go through any specific topics you'd like to explore, etc. So let's kick it off. Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about mastering affiliate management, best practices for streamlining payments and boosting revenue. I think this topic is especially important. One of the great things with Everflow is the ability to onboard all your own relationships and use this as your SaaS backend in a white label type solution. Whenever you're taking full ownership over this type of channel, though, you start to run into a lot of challenges with how you handle payments. You want to make sure it's easy and streamlined as possible. So I'm Michael Cole. I'm VP of Marketing, or SVP of Marketing at Everflow, and to talk about all these payments and the way to really automate this entire process, I'm joined by Evan and Morgan. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Sure, absolutely. I'll start. My name is Evan Heavy. I run industry and partner marketing for Tipalti. So super excited to talk about one of our strongest industries and our great relationship with Everflow and how we help affiliate networks and ad networks, particularly manage payments and manage their growing network of affiliates, of publishers, creators, influencers, and beyond. So really excited to be joined by Morgan to do a demonstration. So Morgan, off to you for an introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. As mentioned, my name is Morgan McNeil. I'm a solutions consultant here at Tipalti, really specialize in the digital economy at Tipalti, where work a lot with clients who have Everflow integration, wanting to learn how to automate payments by using Everflow as a tracking platform as well. So be happy to provide and need a demonstration for you all today.
Excellent. So I will kick us off and just give a little bit of background information. So as Michael mentioned, we really are focused on the demo today. Before we jump into the demo, we'll talk a little bit about some common challenges that ad tech and affiliate businesses are facing when it comes to payments, when it comes to tracking those payments and tracking performance. Then we'll talk a little bit about how Tipalti and Everflow's partnership really can help you ensure that you have the best pieces and the best technology in place to not only manage your performance marketing, but also to make those payments accurately on time every time. And then finally, we'll close up with a quick case study. One of our mutual customers, Aragon Advertising, based here in New York, and we'll just talk a little bit about some of the benefits that they get from working with both Tipalti and Everflow. And then we'll jump into everybody's favorite part, the demonstration led by Morgan, and then we'll save a few minutes at the end for Q&A. We will mention that if we don't get to one of your questions, we will 1000% follow up with you afterwards via email or set up some time if it's a more complex question for our call. We'll also do our best to answer those questions as they come through the Q&A widget, but we already have some questions coming in, so we are hoping we'll be able to get to everything, but if in case we don't, please be sure that we will follow up with you. So let's jump right in. So some of the challenges that we notice, particularly when it comes to ad tech and affiliates around payments, are around partner management and partner onboarding. What we've noticed really there are some challenges when it comes to understanding what certain publishers need and what affiliates need in terms of working with your brand. So the biggest thing that we want to do as a combined solution from Everflow and Tipalti is ensure that you can provide a best-in-class partner experience to your publishers, to your affiliates, and beyond. So what that really means is that we want to prioritize a delightful payment experience, which ensures that all payments are accurate, all payments are on time, and provides full visibility to your affiliates and publishers so that they know, hey, you know, my payment's coming on Thursday. I can rest assured to know that it's coming on Thursday, and I don't need to track down the company that I'm working with to really hound them for the payment that they owe me. We also want to include, obviously, the Everflow side of things, the ability to have that visibility into what that payment is going to be allows for a much better experience from the affiliate and from the publisher side, because they can have more predictability when it comes to running their businesses. And it allows them to have a more streamlined look into their business, which really enforces them to say, hey, working with Aragon is a benefit because I really can get a great visibility into my my payouts and where they're going to be, when I'm going to get them, and I can ensure that they're accurate. So going hand in hand with that, one of the big things that many of you might be thinking is, how can I get all the affiliates and all the publishers that I'm currently working with onto the platform, onto the Tipalti platform, and onboarded with Everflow quickly and easily? That's definitely something that we prioritize, and we definitely prioritize the experience as well. One of the key things about the Tipalti Everflow platform is that they sit in the background a little bit. You can white label your own experience, so it doesn't look like your affiliates or your publishers are leaving working with you. They're staying on your side and working with through your tools, which are Tipalti Everflow, but they're branded in your own colors and with your logo, and give a really, really seamless experience to your partners and your affiliates there. Finally,
one thing I want to mention that too,
please,
is just we can also on the Everflow side help you with the full data staging. So while you're running your program on whether it's your own platform using another solution for that, you can actually have that running in parallel with Everflow during the migration period, have the data staged in both places where you can see the performance on both sides, and then get everything set up for being ready on Everflow, get the payment set up with Tipalti so that it's like a seamless migration. Everything's there for your partners. They're not missing out on anything, and they're ready to get launched right away on a new solution with a lot more analytics and capabilities than what they were previously using.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that ad, Michael. It's super helpful. Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of tie this together before I pass it to you, Michael, to talk a little bit more about the partner experience and the trusted solution from Tipalti and Everflow, we really wanted to nail home on some of the basics here. So some of the key things that are really, really important to know about the Tipalti and Everflow integration is that we are a trusted money services business with money transmitter licenses globally. So giving you that reach that many affiliates, many ad tech networks, many publishers need when it comes to working with folks around the globe. So you can trust that our solutions are going to have the infrastructure to help you grow and help you scale from day one. And then finally, one of the key things that continues to come up and will continue to come up into the future is, how do you manage fraud? How do you ensure that you stay in compliance? And how do you make sure that you have good financial controls over everything that's happening from your payment side? That's built into the Tipalti and Everflow integration to ensure that we have the ability to understand what penalties for non-compliance are. Our system automatically is going to do checks against the OFAC and other sanctions screening lists to avoid non-compliance penalties and ensure that you have great visibility into your cash flow. You know exactly how much money is going out the door, because you don't want to overextend yourselves to your publishers, because that will put your business at risk of going bankrupt or even worse. So some really great things in place there as well, just from a partnership perspective, that can help you rest easy at night to ensure that you have a great solution that's going to be compliant across the globe. And I'll pass to you, Michael, just to kind of finish off on some other key points around the partnership and how our platforms work together.
Yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to expand on. So the first one is just the importance of transparency in all these things. I know from personal experience that when you're working with a lot of affiliates and partners in particular, they need to see feedback right away when they do promotions for you. A partner can't afford to wait a week to find out if they've had any success. They need that ability to log into a dashboard, see exactly how much revenue they've driven, know exactly what their payment terms are going to be, and when money is accrued, that they know exactly how much they've earned. These are all things that if you don't have it, it's always going to be like slogging through mud. But once you have it, it makes it so much easier to make partners feel successful and really motivated to promote you. So I think that's a huge piece of this relationship that's really important, is that ability to give that transparency to your partners in real time. The other one that is super important is we live in a global world. You're no longer just working with partners in one geo. And once you start going into international geos and you're working with partners, affiliates, and traffic sources in those places, there's so much minutia of details that need to be locked down, and just having that all streamlined, done compliantly with full, like, done the right way makes such a difference towards your ability to go beyond your starting borders and really see success of your program day after day, year after year.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that additional insight. And then just to drive it home, one of our shared customers, Aragon Advertising, a growing ad tech and affiliate network that has so much that we can learn from in terms of the benefits of the Everflow and Tipalti integration. But one of the key things that Michael was just hitting on there is the fact that publishers and affiliates can really trust the payments engine. That creates a much better relationship and allows you to grow your affiliate networks and your ad networks a lot quicker. So having that access and having the trust of platforms behind you that are going to ensure a great experience for your partners is going to allow you to grow a lot more quickly and allow you to have a better relationship with new suppliers, new affiliates, old affiliates, and so on and so forth. The other thing that I'd really like to emphasize here is the time savings that you're going to recognize. For Aragon Advertising, as an example, they were able to save up to 20 days on their monthly processes in terms of making payouts, which allows them to focus much more time on strategic initiatives and work on more time-consuming strategic tasks, as opposed to working on manual tasks that are creating a lot of challenges for their teams. So I'll pause there. Anything else you wanted to add here, Michael, before we jump into our demonstration?
No, I would say with the time saving, I mean, that's huge, but it's also, if you're starting to work with, say, more like strategic partners and referral relationships, the ability to make payments easy is just so essential. With referral partners in particular, the amount of money that's owed is so different between each of the different referral sources. That's so many different contracts you're dealing with to make sure that everything's like fully compliant stuff. If that's not your accounting team's day-to-day job, it's just, you're creating such a burden on them, and you're making it so that it's hard for both you and your accounting team to really succeed. And just having, like, these are all things that are much better automated. And you just want to set up the system in place to handle it so that everyone is happy and focuses on what really makes your business grow.
Yep, absolutely. It's all about that long-term strategic growth, and that's what we're hoping to help our customers with. So with that, I'll pass it along to Morgan for a demonstration of our systems. So Morgan, I'll pass to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I can hear, and I'll share my screen. I'll get right into things here. All right. Should all be able to see my screen successfully here. We'll go ahead and put it into slideshow mode and get right to it. We're going to spend, and basically the point of today is really to show you the pieces of Tipalti, where they'll plug into Everflow. So Tipalti really tries to look at the payable process more holistically, so we can really streamline and automate everything from onboarding experience of paying, capturing, validating, and vetting payment details and addresses, as well as tax form collection, is all automated during our onboarding process. To actually, from there, process payments in mass fashion. So Tipalti is a licensed money transmitter with payment networks around the globe. We've heard Michael mention the different minutiae when it comes to expanding the interconnectedness of our world today. It's very difficult to as you're expanding into new markets. Tipalti handles all the different intricacies and complexities of executing payments. So really being able to, from one system, pay out into 96 countries, 120 currencies, across 6 different payment methods. And of course, having all this back into the systems that you use. So Everflow is today. When we talk about our Everflow integration, so we're just speaking to the strength of that partnership. We've already heard a little bit about that earlier today, but it is our performance management partner that we have. As we saw with Aragon, we have a lot of customers in this integration today. It works quite seamlessly. The integration is API based, so it's really plug and play. There's no development work needed on your end, and syncs are all near real time. The integration, Everflow Tipalti integration, really has 3 workflows to consider, and we'll walk through each of them today. The first workflow is just turning the integration on. The second is going to be the affiliate or partner workflow, so the onboarding process of your payees. And then the third workflow is going to be Tipalti's customers' workflow to process payments in mass fashion. So let's walk through that first workflow of turning the Tipalti Everflow integration on. All you're going to do is go into your Everflow environment, and in the integration sub-tab here in the control center, you can go through all of Everflow's partners, and under billing, you'll have Tipalti. Now, when it's not turned on, there will be an option in your case to press add Tipalti, so you'll be able to add your Tipalti integration. From there, though, you just copy and paste the API key Tipalti we provide to you, and that's it. Really try to make this as plug and play as possible. Really, as we can see, it takes a couple of minutes to get this sync running. The second workflow covers the affiliate view. So your existing affiliates or partners will get banners on their screen to help direct them. So they'll come into their billing section. They'll be able to edit their Tipalti information. You can also see at this time, because they haven't provided any details, they're going to have an unpayable status. So when they hit the edit button that we see as number 4 there, that's going to bring up our iframe. Now, our iframe is directly in their Everflow portal. So your affiliates, your partners, and payees, they never have to leave, which makes it nice and seamless for your payee, as it looks and feels like Everflow. From there, they're going to fill out this really simple 3-step onboarding process, which we can go through now. Again, the onboarding process encompasses address, payment method, and tax forms. I do just want to clarify that I'll be showing this onboarding process in a non-Everflow environment, but you can see, as we're showing here from the screenshots, in the case of Everflow, this is actually popping up within the affiliate dashboard, so it's all seamless. What I want you to understand is it'll look a little different from what we see on the demo today, but really the process that remains the same of this 3-step onboarding process here. So for that, I will navigate to this page here. And EverSky is our fictitious company for demo purposes. So they have a dashboard for their affiliates. They've embedded our iframe. Let's go ahead and check it out here, where they've embedded their iframe under the account setting payments tab. So if I navigate here, this is exactly what we see in Everflow. So the same 3-step onboarding process would populate here for your payees to complete, again, within the Everflow platform itself. So this is designed to be simple. We're asking for 2 things: their address, they choose how they get paid and provide their payment details, and their tax. So we'll walk through each of these steps one at a time here. In this first step, we're collecting basic who, what, where contact information. For Tipalti's purposes, we're a licensed money transmitter. This means we're regulated like a tier 1 bank. So each and every time that when we make a payment, we'll be conducting a series of OFAC screenings, blacklists, terrorist watch lists, and other sanction screenings to make sure that when we make a payment, we're not paying a bad actor. So we protect ourselves, but by extension, yourselves at the same time. We'll also be watching for fraudulent activity on an ongoing basis through our detect module as well. Now, this page is dynamic, so what's listed here as the country will drive the payment options available to your affiliates and partners on the next tab. So first example here, I'll say I'm a payee located in the United States. And here's going to be where they tell us how they want to be paid. So for someone located in the US, direct deposit, ACH, wire transfer, check, PayPal, and prepaid debit card are the default payment options. Now, do know that if you do see payment methods listed here that you're not interested in, we won't make that visible for your payees to even select. We'll really only display the ones that you tell us you'd like to offer. Think of it as you're the chef, you get to decide what's on your menu here. Again, these forms are dynamic, so the information required to make a successful payment changes depending on the payment method I select per country. So for example, again, this payee has indicated they're in the United States, where a wire going into the US, we know that we need an ABA number, versus Germany needing an IBAN code, or India needing an IFSC code. All of that is pre-baked into the system. So you can literally flip the Tipalti on and have that peace of mind that we're collecting all of the needed information to pay successfully into these 196 countries and across these 120 currencies. Again, wanting to make sure not only that we're collecting the right details, but that it's in the right format and as accurate as possible, again, as you scale and grow into new markets. Tipalti also has 26,000 validation rules that exist in the background to make sure you're collecting clean information up front to prevent downstream related payment issues. So just to show you a quick example here, I've entered an incorrect routing code. We can see that the system is calling that out and actually not letting me move forward until I come in and correct my error. So if I come in, we put that to my correct Bank of America routing code, you see that error message here goes away. And I will say, between the self-service nature of the platform, as well as all these different validation rules that we have in place, we've basically been able to eliminate a lot of payment errors within the platform that folks normally see prior to using Tipalti. Now, one of the big goals of this portal is to provide flexibility. So to get your payees, your affiliates paid how they want to be paid, not forcing them down a singular route. I did also want to quickly touch on PayPal. So we do have PayPal as an option here, where your payees, your affiliates can actually select their currency directly from this portal here. We're also going to be able to vet their PayPal account. So their PayPal email address, first and last name, live in real time, we're able to see and vet that as a verified PayPal account or not. So again, just to try to cut down anywhere that we can with problems when it comes to the back end of this payment process. Now, the last thing I'll call out here under our payment section here is you'll notice that there's these fees up at the top here. So you can choose to play with these fees and thresholds to meet your business needs by deciding to set minimum thresholds for payment types and choosing whether to absorb, pass on, or split the associated transaction fees. Now, the third and final step in the onboarding process is submitting tax forms. So this environment is configured to a US entity. Tipalti can collect US tax forms like we see here with W-8s and W-9s. However, if you're incorporated outside of the United States, Tipalti can also collect local tax ID in over 50 countries. So for example, you can collect the VAT ID for our UK customers. Something to keep in mind as we're going through this module here. But for this module, we partnered with KPMG to digitize tax form collection. With the help of this questionnaire, payees are guided to the recommended tax form based on their answers to ensure none of your payees get to this step and get stuck. So we can see here that the system is going to provide some questions based off of my answers. It's going to provide a recommended form, again, to just provide some guidance to your payees. Now, if we click into the W-9 here, we can see that this form really looks and feels like a regular W-9. Only difference here is we're collecting this information digitally, so we can do and provide 1099 prep reports at the end of the year for you. The second piece here is the TIN validation. So we do have a nightly window with the IRS where we're doing a bulk TIN validation and verifying your status with the IRS, essentially ensuring they are who they say they are. And the last part here is, despite it being a digital form, we're still collecting this digitally binding signature, which will help prevent against any of the fines or notices associated with not collecting W-9 forms before processing payment to someone. Now, what's really cool about this tax piece is on the front end, we're collecting these tax forms. On the back end, we're keeping track of who you've paid and how much you've paid to each one of these affiliates, partners. So you can come in at the end of your tax season, download a 1099 or 1042S prep report in our platform, which would have the information needed to do your filings. Now, once we finish this three-step process, we'll go back into our slides here where we see that they're going to be marked as payable. So every affiliate is going to have a status, and it's all going to flow seamlessly into Everflow. So you'll be able to see from your end the payable status for each affiliate. Also, once they've completed the three-step onboarding process, they can always come back in, change their details as needed by using the iframe embedded directly in Everflow. It's really meant to be touchless, so you don't ever have to hunt any information down. Now that the affiliate workflow is completed, let's switch gears, start talking about our customers' workflow. This workflow is going to be pretty simple as well. Everflow has this idea of creating invoices for your affiliates. So let's say maybe you pay your affiliates or your partners out on a monthly basis. The system will create invoices for that period of time. So in this case, you'll see, like we see here, the start and end date. It will create an invoice for that given period of time. You would then be able to go into the Invoices tab, and you'd be able to select which invoices that you wanted to pay. So really easily, you would just go through, check the invoices you want to pay. You would then hit this pay button, and that's actually what triggers the sync into Tipalti. So you sync those bills into Tipalti after hitting pay. So now what we're shifting gears into is once we've initiated a payment batch from Everflow to Tipalti, I'm logged in for the first time to Tipalti AP Hub. Now, this is our customers view and login into Tipalti to manage accounts payable in a centralized manner. And from Tipalti's point of view, once those bills have synced over from Everflow into Tipalti, it will look something like this. So under this payment history tab, you'll have all those invoice batches that have synced over from Everflow. So I have these various batches of payments. We see here this payment batch includes 11 payments, 17, 8. We have a couple one-offs, but keep in mind that this could be hundreds. We even have customers that use hundreds or thousands of payments in a given payment batch. So very much is a scalable process. If I click into a payment batch here, we can see that this payment batch includes 8 different payments paying out across all these different currencies here. So I have Euro, Mexican peso, Singapore dollar, US dollar, paying out to all these different affiliates, to all these different partners, and actually across all these different payment methods. So we even see at this point PayPal. We have a local transfer, which is our e-check, uses local rails like a SEPA or BACS payment, ACH, wire transfer. Idea being that none of these variables have any implication on your end in terms of processing. You don't have to go to PayPal for some payments, the bank for some payments. They can all happen centrally in one place and be paid out together in a single payment run through Tipalti. Now from here, we do have extra controls that you can put in place. However, you can take that out of the equation. We can just process payments as they come in to really automate this. In this case, though, here you can see that we do have this extra control point here to show you the capabilities of the platform. So think of this as a final sign-off of approval before money leaves the building. You can set who on your team is a payment approver and how many payment approvers you want to deem a batch fully approved. Again, this is optional. You can choose to have this layer of control should you wish, or if you're already doing this due diligence on the Everflow side of things, you can really automate this so the speed of payout is even faster. So the last part of this is, okay, we have this payment batch. How are we actually processing payments? Now, what's going to happen here is this funds required tab is going to update, and this will actually get into the details of how the magic actually happens. So as we see here, we have a calendarized view that will show us basically all of the cash requirements to make sure that payables are getting paid on time. In this case, what we see is if we need to provide funds to make sure that the scheduled and approved payments get out the door. How it works is we open up a virtual account within our FBO, so for benefit of owner account, that we have sitting with tier 1 banking partners like Wells Fargo and JP Morgan Chase. Now, clients are owning and entitled to all the funds. Tipalti is simply authorized to execute payments on your behalf. So to fund the account, you would click Add, and what you'll see are the specific instructions on how to fund the Tipalti account. Most importantly, there's this cutoff time of 11 a.m. Pacific or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time here. As long as funds land in this account by that time, it will be submitted for same-day processing. Again, all this is being done and accomplished by this FBO virtual account that we're opening up on your behalf. We're using this calendarized view to see the scheduled and approved payments, seeing if we need to fund the account or if we already have enough funds sitting with Tipalti in order to process those scheduled and approved payments. Now, once payments actually go out to your affiliates, they're actually going to also be receiving email template notifications that look something like this. So you can see your affiliates will have the ability where this is a template. So again, EverSky is our fictitious company for demo purposes, has our customers, logo, and email domain, really looking and feeling like this communication is happening from our customers to their affiliates, to their payees, to keep the relationship between our customers and their payees is ideally the goal there, but proactive email communication notifying them once they've been paid and just visibility into their payment. So if they've been paid, once things have been submitted, if anything additional is required. So all that communication, again, is managed within Tipalti and can help build and strengthen those relationships by providing that level of visibility and transparency that you have with the relationships with your payees. And again, once it's been paid by Tipalti, it will sync back into Everflow, automatically update the invoice status within Everflow. So we can see in this case, they've all been paid out. So a little bit of visibility, transparency in terms of what the status is. Once action has been taken, payment has been processed in Tipalti, that's being reflected via our API integration we have in Everflow as well. So we can see that there. And it's really that easy, right? I will just also say, please keep in mind that your funding flow and workflow really will vary client by client. I will say, so for more details, please do reach out to us and we can tailor a solution to meet your business needs. Thank you so much for your time. Really hope you enjoyed the demo and we'll now open it up for some Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you, Morgan. While you were chatting, a couple of questions did come in through the Q&A box that I wanted to pose here. So first question, maybe a good place to start is with Michael, but then definitely have Morgan jump in as well. If I have a scaled affiliate program already, how hard is it to get started with Everflow or Tipalti?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as I mentioned a little bit before, we make a huge amount of effort to make this as easy as possible, because in that situation, you can't afford to have any loss of time or data. You already have so much money flowing through your platform, like it needs to be completely seamless. So I mentioned a bit earlier, but we have this data staging where basically we will start tracking everything on our side. at the same time you're still tracking things in whatever your current platform is. And that gives you the ability to make sure that everything's set up the right way. We will help you migrate over all your data so the setup is an exact replica of your prior setup. And we will train up your team to be ready to get the platform launched, because it's really important that it's completely seamless from both your team's experience and all of your affiliate and partner experience. Like, anytime you're working with partnerships in particular, you need to make sure that it's as low friction on their side as possible, so that they can just focus on what they do best, which is their own promotions, their own traffic sent to your website or to your offers, your customers. You need to make sure that they can just focus on that. And from their perspective, everything's set up, and then they can get paid so much easier with a lot more transparency than what they were getting before. Morgan, can you talk a little bit more on the payment side?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely echo everything that Michael says there. As we saw in the first workflow we went through in the demo today, first workflow being how easy it is to actually turn on the Tipalti Everflow integration. Really, we saw with a couple clicks, because it's a pre-built API, it's very plug and play. We also do at Tipalti have a dedicated and experienced implementation team to ensure we're helping our customers and clients get implemented up and running as fast as possible, and working with your teams to ensure that the system is working seamlessly. So lots of support from the Tipalti side of getting this integration working to ensure that you can process your payments efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing I'll add there too is, as you add more affiliates, more publishers, more partners that are going to be, getting paid out through your platform, getting them set up, getting new folks set up is easier than any process that you might have today. You give the power to the suppliers or the partners and the affiliates themselves to enter in their own information, instead of working with your AP team or your payments team or your affiliate team to get that information entered, where there can be some manual miscommunication or incorrect keying of certain words. So that'll limit the amount of email back and forth communication that you might have, or the phone communication you have with your affiliates and publishing partners. So next question that we got was around international payments, and what are some of the key ways to handle paying international partners, and what are some of the common challenges? I think this is another good one. We can start with maybe Michael just overall, and then maybe have Morgan comment on some of the international capabilities built into the systems.
Yeah, the payment side is the hard part. So the stuff I'm going to be talking about is the easy stuff, but it's just the reality that we live in a global world, and so many of the different potential publishers and partners and affiliates are going to be international. A lot of the best websites for reviews, content, like all of these awesome content publishers that everyone would love to have promoting their brand, these are international companies. And if you don't have a solution that makes it easy for them to receive payments, and it's GDPR compliant and all the other things that mean that they don't have to take on any compliance risk on their side, you're not going to be able to work with them, and you're missing out on a huge amount of traffic that could be US traffic, but it's an international publisher. You need to make it easy for the international publisher to just receive payments and not have to worry about any of this stuff. So that's my side. Morgan, some more on that?
Yeah, so again, we saw through the demo how seamless Tipalti makes it to actually process payments internationally. I will say, from speaking with a lot of different prospects and clients, a lot of the times prior to Tipalti, folks are using various disparate point solutions to try to accomplish and have the coverage that they're looking for to pay out a global payee base. I think Tipalti is unique in terms of its ability to offer payments to 196 countries, over 120 currencies, and across 6 different payment methods. Really gives you and our clients the ability to provide that flexibility for your global payee base to get paid how they want to get paid, whether that's receiving in local currency, whether that's receiving in US dollar. The ability of the system to, again, we keep talking on how global payments are complex, and ensuring that we're collecting the needed details in order to pay successfully, depending on the country that they're in. And the payment method they selected is pre-built into the system, so your team doesn't need to stress about that. or hunt and chase information down. It's all being captured in a self-service manner. And again, providing that payee experience where they have options, should you choose to provide them, in terms of how they're getting paid, and really can take ownership on that side as well. So different validations we're doing to ensure that no fat finger errors or typos result in payment errors. 26,000 different validation rules to try to capture clean information to make this a smooth and seamless process, both for you, but also for your payees when it comes to entering and receiving payment in a timely fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's super helpful too, Morgan. And I think that the other thing that I'll add is we did go over Aragon Advertising story. You can definitely search for Tipalti and Aragon Advertising, or we'll send out the slides afterwards so you can check out their story and learn a little bit more about almost the exact example that Michael was talking about, with international publishers being present and the ability for Aragon not to be able to serve them until they really took on the power of Tipalti and Everflow together. So you got some great use cases there that you can learn more about. We had a few more questions roll in, but one that has come up a few times for you, Morgan, is can we talk a little bit about how the data flows from Tipalti, the data flow works from Tipalti and Everflow side? I know you spoke a bunch about some of the information that's coming from Everflow into Tipalti, but is there any information that's coming from Tipalti back into Everflow? And I know you mentioned the real-time sync. If you could comment on that as well, that would be great.
Yeah, great question. So as we saw throughout the customer workflow, that last and third workflow we went through, information going from Everflow to Tipalti, right? We first have they're selecting the invoices in Everflow, we're ready to send over to Tipalti and include it in the payments batch. But everything flows back from Tipalti. Once payments is processed on the Tipalti side of things, it's flowing back using IPNs that were configured while setting up the integration. So from Tipalti to Everflow, we have those payment statuses that's being passed, as well as the payee status, so whether a payee is completed onboarding and is payable versus not. When it comes to the integration between Everflow and Tipalti being real time or not, the payment statuses are real time, since again they're being provided by IPNs. However, the affiliate payable status, that's getting pulled in every 10 minutes. So real time for the payment statuses and about 10 minutes syncs to see if a payee is payable or unpayable.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really, really helpful. So more questions are coming in, but I think we'll take a pause here for a moment. Definitely answer all the questions as we can and follow up with you to answer there. But I think for now, let's pause and give some more time back to our audience. And wanted to say thank you both from Everflow and Tipalti side for joining today. And like I said, if there's any other unanswered questions, we will follow up with you directly. So really appreciate the time, and thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. Great, and we're back. Everyone, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to reach out. As mentioned, I saw one in the comments about the average fee for pays and receivers, and that there's a couple different pieces to that. But I mean, as we were saying in the chat, if you're coming from like having an affiliate program, the costs are just so much lower. Cool. If there isn't any other questions, we can wrap up. Thanks again for everyone who tuned in, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye, everyone.